Welcome back. This is going to be a bit of a filler chapter, even at the best of times. It's going to be somewhat entertaining, though, in that it's going to be a little bit of everything, really. Sandtraps is, well, it's not bad per se. One could even get to enjoy it. As soon as we get past this part, anyhow. Zombies are... yeah. For some reason, this car, despite actually being in pitch black settings, does not have headlights, even though the airboat did. And, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Oh, hey, look at these guys. It's our old friends. I feel like, in retrospect, this is kind of an irresponsible use of ammunition. Not sure what happened there. But you know, zombies, they don't need to be handled with bullets. You've got more than adequate weapons just lying around. When it comes to zombies, the world is your weapon. And on that thought, let's move on. Despite being a different chapter, there's actually a whole lot of Highway 17 still in this whole section here. It's like, there'll be a part later on which very obviously is the dividing area where the chapter gets its name, and maybe that would have been a better place to put the title card. But that's just me. On the other hand, though, well, I can't really say that I hated Highway 17. Like, compared to Water Hazard, it was actually, you know, a lot of fun little vignettes, basically. A lot of little taste sensations. Things that, while yes, they were like regular pit stops, nonetheless didn't feel like I was wasting my time. For example, who would have expected that that would happen? That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? And wouldn't you know it, it just keeps on happening. Yeah, this house, for some reason, like, I don't even know where these things are coming from, these roller mines. They're just kind of dropping out of the sky at this point. It's so strange. I could have thought that one out a little bit better. Right, into the sea with you. Go feed the leeches. You too. You know, I assure you, I am not doing these things on purpose. It's just that, for whatever reason, I cannot control the scout car. And it's, well, it's a little bit... I guess you could call it a lot embarrassing. Not that it matters. We won't have to deal with it for... Get out of here. We won't have to deal with it for long. Yet again, another checkpoint where I assume they would expect you to just go like charging right on in, but that is not what the acceptable player behavior would be. Like, they would naturally want to do things cautiously, taking it slowly and trying to... Alright, yeah. I am trying to make that whole grenade launcher idea work out, but... You know what? It's still a work in progress. And oh boy. Can I just mention that I really hate these shotgun guys? Like, they will just charge right up in your face and just shred through your armor in no time flat. It's really kind of obnoxious. Moving right along, though. Yeah, another, like, little traffic barrier pops up there, but you're already coming up on a closed gate, so you'd really just kind of drive on by. Not sure what the deal is with that there. And speaking of traffic barriers, here we come on what looks like a ramshackle closed gate. Did the Combine erect this? Is this one of the Rebel things? Like, it has that just thrown together feel of something that the Rebels would do. But at the same time, it's obviously meant to hem us in, so who could even say? Say though, you want to see a magic trick? Ah yeah. The secondary fire of the Combine Pulse Rifle is an energy ball that bounces around before exploding. It is chaotic, unpredictable, and a whole lot of fun. Like, you have no idea what it's going to do. And that honestly makes it really interesting to watch. Albeit a little bit tough to depend upon. Like, if you want to actually consistently kill a group of enemies in close proximity, you're probably better off with the SMG grenades. Since, well, while obviously not as flashy, a single area of effect explosion is a whole lot more reliable. I'm going to spare you this whole puzzle here. What's actually happening is you need to find, you know, a battery from a car and stick it in that power socket and, well, voila, that opens the gate. I'll be very happy if I never see another roller mine in my life. I was honestly a little bit closer to the loading times I remember when I was younger. But here we are. Lighthouse Point. This was our objective all along.
Over here! We're picking up radio chatter. They're looking for your car. Get your car in the garage. Okay, Doc. You'll have to go on foot from here. There's a secret path along the cliffside, but no one's going anywhere until we fight off this attack. Having you here to fight alongside us is going to make a big difference for morale.
Now, what kind of sense does this make? Like, if they're tracking the car, but there's no more driving to do, then maybe we should just bring out the car on account of the fact that we have an infinite use Tau cannon on it. Like, no offense, but I feel like this is exactly the sort of situation where a car with an infinite use energy gun would be kind of super helpful. As it is, the defense of Lighthouse Point is actually one of the more fraught scenarios that we've had to face so far. It's because of these drop ships and their autocannons. You can theoretically destroy the cargo pods on a transport ship if you have enough firepower, but, well, I've hit them with 3-hole rockets before, and that doesn't, like, do enough force in order to explode it, so I wager you probably would have to do something like do a full salvo with the airboat's gun or something. I suppose I should talk about these rebels here. You may have seen the ones with the Red Cross armbands. Those are, in fact, medics. And if your health is low enough, they'll sneak over to you and hand you over a quick med kit. They'll even, if they're in the mood, do that for their fellow rebels. Albeit, very rarely. There is a sort of squad combat in this game, but, well, we'll get to that. It is, questionable.
Take this med kit.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but there the medic actually handed us a little bit of healing. So they're not really so much medics as just guys with very full bags. They're just like force feeding them these green packets of I don't even know what. Well, I have kind of an idea what, but well, we're not going to be figuring that out until episode 2. Anyhow, yeah, it's time for another gunship fight. This one, yeah, going on up. I said it before, but I really do applaud this game's set pieces. They keep on finding interesting places to fight in. Even if this game has, like, pretenses of reality, it understands that life is interesting. Like, the real world is full of interesting places. Anyway. I think I actually equipped myself pretty well here. Sometimes this fight can go pretty south, but if it's close enough, like if it's drifting right up in your face, you can actually fire a rocket that it can't possibly avoid in time. Or you just whirl it all around in a crazy circle and it loses track of it that way. Nicely done.
This way, Dr. Freeman. We'll take the cliff path before another gunship finds us.
I do apologize for any motion-sick people in the audience. There is, a lot of turning in circles.
Right along there. And watch your step. I'm hurt.
Thanks for sharing. Maybe you should give yourself a med kit. And, well, rip the scout car there, I guess. Yeah, this game, it doesn't like to leave loose ends, I suppose. That was Highway 17, more or less. Here we come to what you might actually consider sand traps.
Hold still, Laszlo. Someone's coming. You there! Stop where you are! Stay on the rocks! Don't step on the sand! It makes the antlions crazy! Laszlo, don't move! No. Help! Dear God! Poor Laszlo! The finest mind of his generation! To come to such an end. We were heading for the Vortigaunt camp, hoping to pick up some bug baits of these damn things and leave us alone. But without Laszlo, what's the point? I know you tried to help. I'll stay with him a while. There's something I have to do. Go ahead. I hope you have better luck than we had.
Honestly, I would say that reflects more on Laszlo's generation than on Laszlo himself. But oh well. You know, maybe once this is all over, people will start learning not to walk on the sand. Yes, you see, this game right now is going to be playing a little bit of The Floor is Lava. An interesting new challenge to beat. Sure. Yeah. That's actually a bit of a trick I discovered, that normally there are two sort of firing modes for the gravity gun. You either launch things a ridiculous mile or so, or you just drop them right at your feet. But what I discovered is that if you flick your view upwards a little bit, then you can actually impart a certain degree of momentum to objects when you release it with your secondary fire. Pretty handy for this section, I'd say. I kind of do like the sort of sedate feel of this. There's a certain degree of tension, but at the same time, we just came off a big combat heavy chapter, and now we're having a chance to sort of delve back into the puzzling. And hey, check this out. It's like our very first puzzle all over again, except large size. And just like the first time, I mess it up. But that gives me a handy demonstration of, yeah, you step on the sand and you hear them rumblings. The antlions are actually somewhat intelligent in terms of how they approach you. Like they're intentionally trying to nudge you back onto the sand in order to keep the cycle of hurting going. But, well, Now we'll do it the right way. Or, yeah, you see? Perfect. No mistakes at all. The actual exit to this section is a pretty straight shot. Honestly, the only reason why you'd go on these side paths is because, well, we just went through a combat-heavy chapter and we'd like to load ourselves up on ammunition again. For many respects, this chapter is both part breather, in a weird sense, part horror, part tension, etc. But also, yeah, another chance for us to resupply. Incidentally, there's actually another achievement for accomplishing this chapter without ever stepping onto the sand. You'll know you've messed up, like, even if, like, you don't summon any antlions, if you see the earth rumbling. Like, if that's your indicator, then, yep, load a save, start over from the beginning, you moron. Needless to say, that one is also not one of my earned achievements. I just don't have the patience for it, I'm gonna admit. I believe the current percentage is something like 5.3% out on Steam. Something crazy small like that. You may have noticed that little bit of a jump cut there. I kind of realized I was going in the wrong direction, which is a little bit easy to do in this particular map. Now, if I could just grab this lengthy board here. You know what this gun could really use? Like, when I really think about it, it could use some kind of a turn function. Just maybe, like, having things, like, slowly rotate while you're carrying it so that, with the right timing, you can drop it the way you like it, but honestly, the way that I'm doing it right now, where you have to be constantly, like, running around and rearranging it, is just, yeah, it's a bit of a bother. Now, what I'm looking at here is, there's another lambda symbol around here, and I don't quite see it at first. It takes me a little bit to kind of figure it out, but, well, needless to say, once I actually saw it, I sort of was beating myself in the head over it. Like, yeah, it's up here. So, we just gotta make ourselves a little bit of an apparatus. Yeah, it's... Well, let me put it this way, this filing cabinet here, or whatever, it's got a bit of a curved surface, so things kind of just fall off, and, yeah, eventually I try something a little bit different, it's not quite working out, so, yeah, I need to kind of adjust everything. And then for some reason, the board becomes as slippery as a bar of soap. But, you know, otherwise, it was, yeah, totally simple. Anyone could do it, really. Now, I'll bet that a whole bunch of you are already thinking, wow, I could have done that a lot simpler. Well, if so, you're free to make your own LP, I say. And, yeah. I'm thinking it's board time again. You know what? Close enough. I'll give it this. Like, while there obviously have been later games that did the whole, like, stacking of props thing better, this was, you know, the first. Which meant that it gets a little bit of a leeway in the fact that things are somewhat awkward. For instance, this bit of metal here, for some reason, don't know why, it just was not cooperating. Yeah. Don't ask me why. It's like, yeah. Everything else like slides over just fine when you point the grabby bit at it, but this one, you know, it wanted to give me a little bit of a challenge, and well, I don't know. So much about this feels like it's not entirely working. But you know what? At the end of the day, when all's said and done, this is still a fairly fun challenge. I mean, it's certainly different as long as you ignore, you know, the other games that were doing this exact kind of system, like, you know, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, where you had all these, like, sandworms that you had to distract by throwing grenades. You know, that kind of thing. Or, oh yeah, that movie Tremors, where there were these giant worms, where you had to get on the rocks and avoid making vibrations. I mean, you know, like, there are, I guess, what you might call, let's say, homages. Or, I guess, inspirations. I mean, it wouldn't be right to say that Half-Life is just ripping off the whole idea of things burrowing under the sand and you have to avoid making vibrations in order to, you know, not set them off because, well, that goes all the way back to Dune. You know, you gotta walk without rhythm so you won't attract the worm and all that. So here's where things get a little bit... yeah. I really don't know what the game's complaint was here. I was trying to, you know, like Skyrim my way up here, but it didn't take. So I eventually decided, you know what? Screw it. We're already almost at the end, so let's just make a clean slate of it. Now you might say, what do you mean we're already at the end? What about all this? Well, as it so happens, it's time for a boss fight. The Antlion Guard is, well, it's a big old antlion. And honestly, fights with it can be either like super, like swinging in your favor, or you get repeatedly charged by it and headbutted into oblivion. And it just so happened that, in my case, it ended up being more of the latter, or the former, actually, I should say. I've had occasions where things have instead gone terribly... hello?
The free man must follow.
Yeah, things have gone terribly, terribly
One
wrong.
will do wise to heed our extraction of the Myrmidon's aromatic pheropods. The process is not entirely hygienic, therefore stand aside. The Freeman will have need of these pheropods on the paths ahead. Gather them now.
Yep. Our last weapon of the game is antlion balls. I bet you didn't see that one coming.
I swear by the pheropods myself.
The Freeman must excuse us. It is rude of us to commune by flux shifting in front of you. Important inputs are banned. Yes, we will vocalize in your auditory language as a matter of courtesy. Unless we wish to say unflattering things about you. Just so.
Dang, that's just rude. Can you believe the language these Vortigons have?
Get going, Dr. Freeman. Nova Prospect is just ahead. One man alone wouldn't stand much chance going in there. But a man with a pack of antlions, well, that's a different story.
The Freeman honors us by his presence. Follow Freeman.
Yeah, what's coming up is a tutorial that I feel is entirely tongue-in-cheek. Like, it seems like they kind of realized that they had to teach players how bug bait works.
The Freeman will now be instructed in the use of pheropods. Attend now and learn to shepherd antlions with the so-called bug bait. The Freeman will now break out his pheropod and toss one into yonder pit. The Freeman has done well.
And yeah, you can sort of tell that they kind of feel like really awkward about it. Like, it always feels so like tongue-in-cheek and so like kind of, you know, we have to do a tutorial and it's gonna be so stupid and so simple.
The Freeman again excels in all tasks.
But we might as well have some fun at the player's expense while we're doing so.
Now, attend well. Apply pressure to your pheromod to signal the antlions in your command to follow you. The Freeman shows his excellence in all things. And now, this one must bid the Freeman farewell. Nova Prospect lies just beyond. Remember well what you have learned here. The Eli Vance has greatest confidence in you.
Yep. No one flings antlion balls like Gordon Freeman can. And yeah, the game has now become sort of like a strategy game, only very, very simple. In that you now have a bunch of disposable antlion minions. And, you know, I think it was sunlight just a moment ago. We didn't spend that long in the cave, did we? This game's method of, you know, showing the passage of time is a little bit odd, I think.
Priority warning. Outland stabilization force.
Like, Gordon is, at this point, going on his second evening of non-stop action and running. Like, he was going along the coast for apparently the entire duration of a day. Like, adrenaline or not, Gordon must be, like, wiped. Which is fine. Like, now we got a chance to blow off some steam. Yeah, the advanced Nova Prospect is what you might call... Yeah, it's basically like storming a beachhead where you're having to send waves of disposable minions against Gatling guns, effectively. So what I'm saying is that this is like 100% like Normandy, but with giant ants and robots. You can put that on the blurb, I guess. Honestly, I would probably, like, in a sane, like, delineation, probably put this into, like, the next chapter in terms of mood. You'll see what I mean, but especially with the color palette, everything's sort of starting to be turning cyan. And this next chapter that we're going to be coming up to is also extremely cyan in basically everything that it does. May also notice, by the way, that, yeah, the Nova Prospect perimeter guards have their own special uniform. Mostly just in terms of color. It doesn't make them any different in terms of their combat capabilities, like they have basically the same weapons, the same tactics, I think basically the same health. And hello, it's these things again. Last time we saw these things, it was all the way back in the canals. Boy, wasn't that a long time ago. Once again, the Freeman excels in all things. Good grief. But oh well, like, you don't have to be like a super competent fighter. You just have to be tenacious and determined and willing to survive at all odds. And that's basically the crux of being Gordon Freeman, is that you never give up and you never stop.
Status 0 with land fleet intercept team. Possible observation 1, reinfection. All Nova subject stabilization delegation. Hard point.
Now, I don't know this for certain, but I think that antlions have a specific, like, damage multiplier against Combine soldiers because, you know, they don't do a whole lot when it's against you, but they can usually take out a Combine in, like, 2 or 3 hits. And it's like, I don't know, comparatively speaking, I kind of figured that they're a bit sturdier than that. And actually, we'll see later that the antlions have an opportunity to attack some other things, and they don't do nearly as much against them. Alright, tiny log of truth. No need to worry about the antlions following you, by the way. Like, there is a follow command, but I almost never use it just because, well, if you don't send them to a specific location, they'll tend to, yeah, you know, just kind of follow you on their own. Which means that in practice, yeah, the bug bait's a great, like, ignore that, please. The bug bait is a great, like, target designator, but the actual squad controls aren't really that much deeper than that. The game has pretenses of giving you the ability to command things, but in actuality, it's nowhere near as sophisticated as they like to pretend it is. As I've said of much of Half-Life 2, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors at play. The game likes to pretend things at you, to make you think that you're being awesomer than you actually are. And oh yeah, like that was meant to be like a big surprise, but well, I guess like if you play the game enough, it's like, I don't know, I can't even pretend to be shocked by it. And here we are, within the walls. Our reverse prison break is working out pretty nicely. If you think about it, Gordon has every reason to be the boogeyman and for the Combine, just because of his ability to seemingly just hit them always where they're weakest. Gordon is what you might call an outside context problem, where everything that Gordon is runs contrary to whatever they had prepared for. No one had expected a mythological man of science to just teleport into being, appearing on a train with no apparent origin. How would you prepare for something like that? The arrival of practically a legend. A man who people are willing to... Oh, check this out. Oh yeah. Great weapon. Yeah, but a man that people are willing to basically like give up their lives to protect, to risk everything for. Like, you can't make people afraid when Gordon Freeman is here. And that's something that, well, yeah, intimidation and fear don't work anymore when people are confident, like 100%, that someone is there to save them. Is this deserved? Well, you tell me. Freeman is, well, at least the way that the player controls him, a basically, like, unstoppable force. He doesn't tire. He doesn't need to stop to eat or drink or anything. Like, they can't ambush him, they can't surprise him. At least, seemingly not. Even their minor ambushes, he's got somehow always got supplies in the area that will help him. I mean, we know that there's somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings for us. But also, it's just merely the fact that we're in a video game, and so everywhere we go, we'll always have exactly what we need. And there's nothing they can do about it, because we're the hero. And now, yeah, just like that, we're in. All the external forces are gone. And now it's going to be time to take care of the internal forces. I'll see you then.
7.